Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Heart of the Equation with Pragati and me. And today we are going to talk about navigating the high performance culture and how to show up at our best in a sustainable way for the long term. So, Pragati, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's uh, it's a topic that is not addressed as much because but what I feel is we are always living in this sort of a society around us, work cultures. It's such a performance driven achievement, your achievements defining you sort of a environment that we are in. Of course, social media made it much more, kind of brought it to the forefront. But yeah, I'm so excited to talk about this because I know we both share different perspectives, but the hustle culture, like they call it gets to all of us
Yes,
in different
exactly.
ways. In different ways.
Yes, and even in Switzerland, European culture, maybe we don't use the word hustle a lot, but especially in Switzerland, I think there is this pressure to deliver very high quality. It's a country that's generally things work well. The kind of corporations that get very successful here are mostly premium brands in their fields. Most of us who worked for big companies, that company was a big name in the industry already. For everything you do, I'm not saying it applies to everything, but at least 80% of the workplaces or brands or whatever you're dealing with, there is this expectation to perform high, do a very good job, do excellent job, not just, whatever.
Yeah.
And this is something I felt less in some other countries, I would say. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
No, I totally agree with this because we are also defined by the stereotype Swiss quality, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you have it on the chocolates, you have it on the watches, and you have it on everything else. Everything that comes out of Switzerland is premium quality. And I think it starts from there. It's a very interesting thing, and I'm realizing it now while I'm speaking. Is like, anything we are offering, our offerings should be at premium level
Yeah.
only.
Exactly. I kind of sense that. I mean, I work with people from everywhere, but mostly I would say here, some Middle East, Europe. I always have this in the back of my mind that because I'm in Switzerland, I'm expected to deliver a certain level of
Yeah.
quality. This is one thing, but this is also something I hear from even like people I know locally is that if you are someone in their, let's say, 40s, 50s, you do not have a job, you do not have a car, you do not have like a certain lifestyle, you will be criticized and people feel this pressure. This is maybe something that is contributing. And then what happens is that a lot of people associate their personal worth with the
Yeah.
performance that is happening. So once you're in this vulnerable situation that, I don't know, you lose your job or you don't do a good job as usual, suddenly your whole identity is being
It's
questioned.
shaky. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's shaky. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, right? I mean, I also want to go back to what you were saying, like the expectation of premium services. And I just thought about my own when I was in the consulting industry. When we staff a project, unless absolutely necessary, and if it's a very niche skill, only then would we staff someone from Switzerland because, okay, the expectation is high. Why is the expectation high? Because there's a commercial angle behind, the cost of living in Switzerland.
Yeah.
So, we come out as the most expensive resources when we are staffing any of our deals or our projects. But when you are staffed on a Swiss project or, you are staffed on a global project, the expectation that comes out from someone who's sitting in Switzerland is, okay, we're going to get a premium service here.
Yeah.
Whereas it's a little bit more relaxed, I would say, for other countries or other regions or areas. So yeah, that's so true. And on your other point is that every day I used to feel this. I think I still feel this every day. You kind of are putting yourself on like grading your day.
Yeah.
I was just saying that before we just started. Like, how do you feel at the end of the day? Did I win this day? So did I perform to like my highest capability? Or I was like, or like, oh no, this day completely blew. So it really is very draining to live like that where every day you are being measured, your performance is being measured. And
Yeah.
sometimes we are doing it ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely do it.
Yeah.
I definitely do it to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, do you make a very good point. Actually, this is true. Also, I'm trying to be a bit kinder to myself in the last few years. It's something I had to learn, but the system I was raised in, I think it was also very similar. Both in school, you're being rewarded for the good work you do, but the moment you do a bad job, I mean, there was punishment in the school
yeah,
system I was
we are from
raised
that
in.
generation.
Yes, my parents were very kind, but generally the system was like this carrot and stick situation. And university was pretty much the same, although it was
Yes.
in a different country. Then, in the company, it was again the same. You get bonuses and, some more money, you do a good job, you get a better job sometimes. But if you're not doing very well, depending on the line manager, you know that it's not very good. So generally, all the cultures I have existed, and most of us have existed, is like you have to perform, and
Mm,
when you're not, things our safety becomes questioned. That is
yeah.
the thing. I think we start to feel less safe because we feel less useful. We feel like who's going to take care of me, and it becomes a little challenging. So out of like a survival mechanism, I do
Yeah.
that to myself too. I was actually recently thinking about it that I wake up very early in the mornings, usually like around 6 o'clock. This is my routine and then do all the things. If one day I need to sleep until like 9 or 10, I get so much guilt around it.
Guilt.
I
Yeah.
really struggle.
I
It's
know.
so hard. Even like, and it's usually a day that I'm physically not feeling very well. And I don't, it's not something that
But
I
still,
haven't.
you would feel the guilt, right? Yeah.
Yes, I was like, oh my God, I need this. Oh, I'm such a bad, I don't know, a bad business owner. I'm a loser. All of these thoughts always
Yeah.
come to me. And as a coach that I've worked with a lot of people navigate that, I have also my own radio bullshit as one of my clients called.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite crazy. But at the same time, I also feel like there is a lot of pressure on all the people who are in the job market or in the workplace doing some kind of economic activity, that the world is changing. We are still struggling to catch up with all the changes. The expectations are higher, and then at the same time, a lot of us are not equipped with the tools to keep ourselves healthy and sane in this market.
Yeah. Yeah. I think our friend Anisa has a lot of tools
Yeah.
that she has developed, and despite her doing so many things, like she's like all three of us have that similarity that we love to do a lot of things, and it feeds our soul. It cannot be just for winning this day, but it does feed our soul. So a lot of things that we do, but there are a lot of tools help you calm your nervous system down. To You cannot always be in that adrenaline cycle because performance does generate that. And yeah, I mean, it's I have to acknowledge whatever you said here, because uh, it's if you don't feel safe, all of a sudden, also safety is also really, really important when you are trying to perform at your best.
Yes.
You can only do that when you feel safe. And I think from a corporate point of view, it's as leaders, are we creating safe spaces for our teams? Because I've had really completely polarized experiences in this aspect, where
Yeah.
if I've had a very nurturing manager who created a very supportive environment, like we spoke to Manish,
Yeah.
that sort of environment, then I think I have also wanted to really put my best foot forward. But if there are these toxic, and let's not, if there are, these exist, right?
Yeah.
We've all experienced them. Your safety is boom gone. And how do you perform? And then you go into the spiral where then you are like, oh my God, I'm disappointing myself all the time because I'm not able to put my best foot forward. But it's also your environment that kind of determines how you are able to perform at your work or whatever you do. These safe spaces are somehow underestimated, but these are the ones that are the biggest enablers for people to really be the best versions of themselves. And I have noticed this
Absolutely.
firsthand.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
barely surviving in a couple of situations or roles that I have been in, where I would just be like, let me go through this day with a sane mind and put those tick in the boxes. But I wasn't doing it out of passion, or I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to be the best. And
Yes.
at times we are just surviving. And then you are in this constant loop of, oh, I'm not doing well. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, that is such a good point. And I also have a lot of first-hand experience of that, working with like in unsafe environments and working in like safe environments. I think the role of your first line manager is key because I think you could be in a very political, challenging culture with a lot of people who could challenge your safety. But if you have that one line manager who really has showed the team that no, I'm not promising anything to be perfect, but we are doing our best to sort of at least protect each other, and you feel that I showed up differently. I also showed up for them to kind of show that I appreciate that you putting this effort, because we also don't expect 100% security. I mean, that's also wrong if someone comes to me and sees me as an employer who takes care of all their needs. So I'm sorry, it's not going to be possible, but I will do my best that it's fair, that we do whatever we can do, all of that. But really, that safety is firstly non-existent in a lot of cultures. At least I worked in fast-paced environments. I think you the same. Supply chain, IT, high adrenaline. There is usually so much that is happening, so many projects, and it always needs to happen very fast. And a lot of people, I even had bosses, they said, this is fluff. This is leadership fluff they teach in universities. This is the exact sentence someone
yeah.
used. And I could see like, okay, when he is behaving like that and nobody in the field, in the team feels safe in terms of like, respect and humanity and all of that, we also bring our survival mechanisms to the game. So for me, okay, sometimes I'm a fighter, sometimes I'm an avoider. So when someone puts me in that unsafe situation, either they'll get a lot of aggressiveness out of me, or they will get nothing from me.
Yeah.
I'll disappear. And this is not my best behavior. It might work, but this is also something happens, I think.
Yeah. And the fight or flight mode is not for every day.
Yeah.
This is what people need to realize. It's not for every day. I know that I have lived in the fight or flight mode every single day in a particular job. And it did so much damage, not just to my health mentally, but physically. It can
Mm.
manifest in ways it's very dangerous to live
Yeah.
continuously in a fight or flight mode,
Yeah.
because that's your
Cortisol.
body's way of protecting you, and you cannot be in that way all the time. That means you're always feeling unsafe.
Yes. Yeah.
And it takes a lot of hard work to kind of come out of it, realize that you're in that mode. First is the awareness bit, right? I think there
Yeah.
might be people who are listening to us today who are like, oh my God, yes. This is a light bulb moment at times for people when they realize. And for me, it happened when I went for a Pilates class. And she told me in the first couple of sessions, they also kind of feel the sensations in your body, and and for me, of course, it was the back and the neck, because they are so much strained. That we all sit on our desk for hours together, so this is normal that we have stiffness and stress around this area. But then she told me that she made me realize what was happening, and it takes a
Mm.
lot of work for people to realize this, and that's not normal. So if anybody listening here is constantly feeling like that, then they need to step back and evaluate the current situation that they are in.
Yes, yes. Actually, in another episode I did with Anisa, we talked about this resilience and how to take care of yourself so you can do things sustainably. But really, performance is like the way most corporations see it is like these tests that you do, and or there are a few areas that they identify as strengths and weaknesses. So I was once in this environment that they, instead of working with your strengths, they preferred that identify your weaknesses and fix your weaknesses. And I think that was a big waste of energy, but that was also the mindset. And it was also, I think, when I was in school, this was pretty much the
Yeah.
mindset that if you have a weakness, you should
Work on
fix that. And usually you have a weakness because you were probably never meant to do
do
those
that.
kinds of jobs, and you hate them or you don't enjoy learning about them. But sometimes also you would actually be good once you're given the opportunity. So that is something I kind of didn't like in terms of performance, that mindset. What really worked for me was that I mean, for me, this topic of zone of genius is very close to my heart, but knowing what you're really good at, what you really enjoy, and you're excited about it, so you can go get educated about it, get trained in that topic, this is the area that is worth investing.
I think they should teach that in schools. It
Yeah,
should as soon as in schools, not in your mid-career when, we
too
meet
late.
these amazing people like you, and then you're like, oh my God, it's been 20 years and I have been operating out of my zone of genius.
Yes.
I never even tried to explore this area and, kind of develop this. But, I'm just thinking about my own daughter, and I would love it if she discovered this, say, at a university level or even in school. And then how amazing would life be if you knew exactly what direction you should go in? And it's because you love it. This
Yeah.
genius also points you towards things that you really love because you're good at.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not one thing. So we might love one thing in at one
Yeah,
like certain age range, and then we may kind of love something because we're also growing and evolving as humans.
yeah,
But having the freedom to live authentically so we can actually do things we really enjoy and we can talk about them. This is taken for granted. I think this was also a problem that a lot of people don't get the chance to live that authentic life.
yeah.
They do not think they can actually do things they enjoy. They would rather do something they suffer, but then it makes them money. And they explain that a story to themselves. So you never really go for something that makes you happy and excited and energized. And this is also when you do something like that, it's like an engine. It feeds, the energy you get from doing that job and getting that appreciation from others encourages you to do more of it. And this is how performance, I think, also comes from practice. This is something that we underestimate. In a lot of places, they think you go to a class, you learn something, now you know how to do it, do it. Like the company I work for, they would send us this training. I'm like, yeah, you did the training and you should do it. Like, no,
Oh.
there is a
Yeah,
learning curve. I also need to have some safety to experiment. And
yeah.
when you experiment, sometimes you make mistakes. You don't want to feel under pressure. Like if I make mistake, I'm gonna have a
Yeah,
tough
I hate
time.
this whole thing about corporations. There is no room for mistakes. And we are human beings. How can we be perfect? I mean, really, it's by practice, practice, practice. Practice makes it permanent.
Yeah, yeah, this is how we grow. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think it really depending on the culture. I've been in corporations that were like very premium brands, they have high standards, but the line manager or people in that team were very
Done.
understanding. So you kind of, and also as a person, you also have to understand, okay, I make mistakes. Some people don't like it. I have to build that resilience within myself to also get that feedback of like, sometimes we don't do a good job and it's not nice, but that's okay. But really that culture, I think that is still missing in a lot of places, that patience for mistakes. And when we lose that patience for others, we also judge ourselves more harshly when we make mistakes. I think this is also one of the problems. If you have judged others, then you will also have very high expectations of
From
yourself.
yourself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have very high expectations from yourself, and you are living a particular way which you have never questioned, because that was what, and I think this is a problem of our generation the most,
Yeah.
because we were, like you said, like we were conditioned in a particular way. Like our parents had expectations from us. I know both of my parents had very high expectations of me.
Yeah.
And then it's your school that is again so performance driven. We were ranked all our lives. I see that the education system is changing quite a bit at the moment, but it was not at all like this. We were
No.
ranked, we were publicly shamed, if I can say so. We were made to feel uncomfortable, out of our safety zones, when we were really, really young minds who were just absorbing, hey, okay, this is what normal looks like.
Yeah, yeah, that is so true. I grew up in Iran, and they thought they're doing the right thing
Yeah.
for us. I,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't also judge them because that system also brought us where we are today. It's not so bad. So they did some things right, but really that system was built on making you do things out of shame and guilt, because
Yeah.
shame and guilt is also a very strong push for people. Yes, it has its job in some places, but it turns into toxic shame and chronic guilt when you're an adult. It's not serving. It also puts you in this not so creative space. You would not bring out your best because that shame is constantly, so your energy is going to manage that shame. I
Right.
think this is a problem a lot of old millennials like us got. We have that. Everyone's burnt out and, had enough of things. But really, we've had a lot of that.
We've had a lot of that, and I think even burnouts were not so openly talked about.
No, it's like stigma. It's like you were not strong enough, so it happened to you. At least
Yeah.
this is like my sort
Exactly.
of.
That's what was fed. And there was a lot of shame admitting to, "Hey, I'm not able to do this anymore. Like, I'm
Yes, yes.
tired, I'm burning out," like realizing those signs. And I'm glad that, we are having a conversation about it, because otherwise we wouldn't even be aware.
Yes, yes. I mean, of course,
Constant hustle, or like making sure that you're performing at your A+ level every day, is doing to you.
yeah. I mean, now, of course, we have the safety within us to talk about it.
Yeah.
Firstly, both of us, we don't care who says what. And also, we have that maturity and we are at a level in our lives and careers that we are okay talking about certain things
Yeah.
because we know it helps someone else. But it's really like, the stigma around it, this whole burnout topic that is very frequent, is really a result of that because the topic of performance is really misunderstood, I think, in a lot of places. A lot of people are doing a job that was not right for them.
That was not right for them.
They're put in the wrong box. So you're trying to, almost like this fish trying to
Climb a
become a jogger. That's a bit of that. And also this whole safety topic, this is contributing to that. And then also, I think it's limits that people put on themselves to, how to say, to feel that they should suffer somehow to perform high. I mean, yes, there is a bit of suffering, but there are a lot of misunderstandings around this topic of performance that stops people from actually bringing the best version to the work.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think identifying is the biggest step that you can have. I think if there are things that you take out of this conversation that we are having, is maybe some people are resonating at the moment while listening, that, oh, I've been feeling like this. And sometimes it's also nice that you can disengage, look at yourself from a third person view,
Hmm.
and then you can really see how you're feeling, rather than being stuck in this loop of, you get up in the morning, I have these XY. I mean, I've lived like that for years. So I have these XYZ meetings. I have to make sure that I present or bring the best foot forward. I would present meeting after meeting after meeting. And it was almost like one at this one, okay at this one again, lost here. And like, you're keeping a score with yourself all the time. This is a constant, imagine the amount of pressure you're putting yourself in. And this is true for all of these high performing environments that we are in at the moment, these really, really big corporate firms, where consulting, especially, or like you said, supply chain, where these are very high pressure jobs. This is what people are going through in spirals, day in and day out.
Yes. And also, although right now I have my own business, but I grew up in that culture.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of people in those cultures. So I still kind of subconsciously practice it with myself. I
I,
don't need to, but it is in me. But there's
I
also
thought entrepreneurs could sleep in.
yeah,
And you
I
just
have
won't
learned to
admit.
sleep. It's been 2 years that I've learned to sleep and don't wake up in the midnight sweating about the latest drama. Since I have the coaching business, it's much easier. And also one of the reasons is I'm doing something that it's easier for me. It's in my genius. I
Yeah.
did a lot of things that I was good at, but they were not really in my genius. So I had to put a lot of effort into it. Like my previous fashion business was stressful for me. But now sometimes I feel a bit guilty. Like I feel like, oh, is this a job? I'm having too much fun. I have that sense within me that I should be doing something else.
Where
But
you
this is
suffer. Where you suffer.
yeah,
And suffering
I'm not
is an
suffering enough. Yeah.
indicator. Yeah, yeah. And somehow suffering is an indicator to, you must be doing something right, because you're very uncomfortable. You are,
Yeah.
having a very tough time. Yes, this is right. This is going to make you money.
Yes, exactly. Because all my life that suffering was my sort of guidance. But this is something, but then there's also something else I want to bring in. And this is The topic of systemic coaching has been very interesting for me
Mm.
because most of the coaching or personal growth content we have is work on your mindset and you work on yourself and all the answers are within yourself. And yes, it's true to some extent, but then the systems we are part of play a big role in
Of
what
course.
we bring. Like the support systems we build around us play a big role in how much we can perform in the jobs you want to perform. And you maybe all have heard this, like Beyonce has the same 24 hours as you. No, she doesn't. She has nannies and she has chefs and she has like at least 100 people doing a lot of, so she has a very good support system so she can bring her best to the job she's meant to do. We, those of us who don't have that kind of system, I mean,
Most of us don't have that.
yeah, most of us don't. We are usually under supported and over supporting, especially with people in their midlife, in their late 30s or 40s, aging parents, kids. I mean, life, all kinds of things that is happening. Long-term relationships that come with their own, everything with your partner, you're also involved with that. Life is more challenging. You're more experienced and senior at work, so you're expected to do a lot of things. So suddenly there is so much to do. If you do not have the right support system, even if you're best at your job, what are you going to bring to that job?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You might be actually operating in your zone of genius, like you said, but it's like you are so under supported that how do you bring your best, best foot forward to that job? I so agree with you. And I so feel this in Switzerland.
Yeah, it's harder to get that support. It's more expensive. You always have to be creative around it. But this is true. It's also, yes, Switzerland has some positive things. It's a safe country. It makes certain things also possible. I also like that it's a small country, which enables us to build a lot of personal relationships, do a lot of things. But then, yeah, getting that support system, you have to be at a much higher level to be able to sustain
Yeah,
the Beyonce level of support,
beyond the
let's say.
level of support. Yeah. Yeah. But I think people also are, they love this martyr thing.
Yes,
Have this martyr
totally.
syndrome. I am going
Suffering
to,
is
sorry, I am going
over.
to do everything and I am going to, like build a castle just in a day. And you cannot. You cannot. And then you fall sick or you have these burnouts or you have some other condition or you are just so disappointed with yourself and then demotivated. And this is something that I think people can look into, and to each their own, right? How do you really make a support system around you given your circumstances? And the answer to that, we don't have a answer because everybody's situation is very unique.
Yes, yes, yeah,
But it's important that you acknowledge it and you build it and not be constantly trapped in this martyr syndrome where, no, 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 I will do everything on my own. And I
yeah,
sometimes have it. Like, I want to make my daughters every meal. Like, I must do it. As a mother, this is something that I must do. And because, otherwise, she's not getting her right nutrition and she will starve because I have not made her that meal. And I'm like, come on, she's a teenager. And,
yeah,
you also have to make people around you self reliant to kind of,
yeah.
this is part of your building your support system.
Exactly. Exactly. This is actually a key one because we create dynamics that everyone depends on us. So when we break, the whole system breaks. This is something to be conscious of. The more independence we encourage around like our families, everyone who's depending on us, this is also making that support system stronger. I want to remind everyone that support system, like let's say 80% is the people around us, but it's also the systems you built
Yeah.
in your life. Automations, like in the business, there is so much you can give to the AI to do. There are virtual assistants. Actually, a lot of people think virtual assistants are only for businesses. There are people you can hire. It's not that expensive, but they can take care of a lot of little things for you, even like in terms of life, personal assistance. So this kind of help is available, but building a system that is less dependent on you, but it is like automated, this is something that would help in the long term to buy you more peace and give you more space to actually focus on the things that you're doing very well. So you're
Yeah.
performing well.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. I mean, and we use it and you use it so well. I know that you also teach this to your clients, right? How they can automate a lot of these tasks for themselves or put that initial investment of building the system that works for you, so that then you can do more creative stuff on a daily basis. One is, of course, like we discussed, the personal angle of how people around you, how your family, how your friends, and sometimes you just need to ask. The problem is we don't even ask.
Yes.
This is again, going back to no, I don't need anybody's help sort of a thing. And this is so much more in women than in men.
Yeah, totally resonate. I'm not very good at asking for
Yeah,
help until
yeah,
like I came to that breaking point and like, oh, maybe I should.
yeah. So yeah, ask for help, and ask for help even on the professional side. And I think we spoke about this whole delegation topic in one of how you people really also are very scared to ask even at their workplaces for support, for help, for more people added to their teams, so that then you can perform at a higher degree. It's us taking a step back and then figuring out, hey, what are certain things that would make my life easier, and that really helps. This whole building of the support system is not something to shy away from, which a lot of people are doing. They're
Yeah,
shying.
exactly. A lot of people are just searching for the answers
I
within
have to
themselves.
do everything on my
I
own.
have to fix something with me to perform higher, perform better, do a better job. But really, the answer is it's just the whole system that you're part of.
And you can
Yeah,
totally, sleep in and not feel guilty because you deserve it. This is something that we need to condition our brains to. You can totally take a long holiday and be unapologetic and not touch your phone and your laptop because you deserve it. And
yeah.
kind of condition, because we have been conditioned very differently from our childhood. Even if you give yourself this pep talk, do it. Give these things to yourself as treats, and you will see your performance improve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started this episode with how to perform like higher and better. Maybe some people thought we're going to talk about some sort of method.
Strategies.
But really, it's down to building a better system that supports you, delegating more, taking care of yourself, having more rest time so you can be resilient you can survive all the challenges for a long run. So that was it. I think we have arrived at the end of our time. So is there anything you'd like to add, Pragati?
No, I think you summed it up really, really well, and I'm sure that people will empathize with everything that we said, and probably be a little bit less judgy and not guilty about the little treats that we are giving each other.
Yes,
Maybe it was
absolutely.
listening to this podcast, right?
Yes, totally, totally. And also, if you're listening to this, please share with us whenever you put it on LinkedIn or YouTube or anywhere. What makes you bring your best to work? If there is any strategy, anything you do, it would help everyone else to also kind of, try that and learn from you. So thank you very much for listening, and goodbye from my side.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Thanks for listening to The Heart of the Equation. If this episode sparked something for you, we'd love to hear about it.
Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on LinkedIn and Instagram to continue the conversation.
And if you know someone who is navigating their next career step, share this episode with them. It could be exactly what they need.
We see you next time as we explore more about leading with purpose, resilience, and authenticity.
Let's keep growing together.